Hello, and thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. My name is Lisa Philippi, and I have a collection of spring journals that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm going to go ahead and make a separate video for each one, just because I know that if I do all three in one video, it will be a long video, but I'm kind of showing you these here. And what I'll do is I'll set these two aside, and we'll call this one number one. And this one, so they are all the same size. Let me go ahead first and measure it. This one, it is about 8.5 inches. That's about 8 3/4 inches, actually, tall. And then it's about all the way out with the laces, about 5 inches wide. And you've got about 3/4 of an inch to an inch spine, and they are all the same size. Now they are all covered with fabric front and back, and they all have the same lace down the spine. Now the in each one of them is also going to come with one of these little envelopes as well, which is a handmade, made from crinkle paper and lace, and so there's one of these in each one of them, or they'll come with that. And then you can also see that the cover is kind of patchworked together with all these different fabrics. And then they've been machine stitched around each one of the fabrics. So like that one, that fabric has been zigzagged around. This one has kind of got a, I think that's the blanket stitch. This one's zigzag, that one's just straight stitch. So I wanted you to just see all of these fabrics because some of these are vintage fabrics. This one is from France, and they're all just different fabrics that I have in my collection that I've been saving, and I love doing the collage with these beautiful fabrics. And then on the inside, you can see that you've got all these beautiful laces on all of the edges. They're all vintage or coffee dyed laces, so you can see all of those. And on the inside of this one, you've got 3 pockets, and in each one of these pockets, you've got pieces of ephemera, little tags, different things like that, photos. So you can see that each one of those pockets has at least 3 pieces of ephemera in it. And then let me go ahead and start going through the pages. Let me move this down just a little bit. We'll set these aside. And now here on the inside of this one, you've got this little pocket here, which I've just put a playing card in. This pretty lace edge. I have left a lot of spaces for writing, but in each one of these, you've got a pocket, and there's 2 pockets that are very special. So I wanted to show you on here that each one of these, so it's collaged, and that each one of these is stitched around. So like that's a vintage green stamp, and this is fabric, and it's each one of these little pieces have been stitched around. Pieces of lace, a little piece of tatting, another piece of lace up here. It's got cheesecloth, a piece of lace over here. So it's a collaged pocket. And inside this pocket, again, you've got different things. So you've got a vintage prescription from a pharmacy. This one is a vintage flashcard, and then 2 other pieces of printed ephemera. So all of that goes in that pocket. And then you've got a piece of ledger paper that is vintage. And this papers are printed, and then they're coffee dyed. That one was double side printed, so you can see that that's double sided. A vintage paper doily that's been coffee dyed. And then this is a French book page. Again, this is, I think, that rag paper. It's got a very good feel to it. You can actually feel the print of the words into the paper. And it's got that beautiful torn kind of jagged edge. And then some writing paper with a little tab. And then blank music paper for writing. And then you've got a little tag here that's just paper clipped on that side. And then on this side, this is a piece of fabric. So that was printed onto fabric, and then I stitched it onto just a piece of cardstock with a little mother of pearl button. And then over here, I made a little tuck spot, and then I printed out little piece of ephemera. She's kind of like a paper doll. And then more writing space. And here, that one, you can see that one was double side printed, and some gorgeous lace here. I believe that's handmade from France, or it could have been one of the ones from Italy. I'm not sure where it came from, but it's beautiful handmade lace. And then another little tuck spot here, and this one is an envelope. So just kind of put that in there like so. And then you've got another piece of paper here for writing or adding a photo. And another blank pages for writing, another blank pages for writing. And here, this one has a little tab on the edge. And more, this is the center of the signature, so you've got lots of places for writing or adding photos. And then on this one, in the center of the envelope, in the center of the signature, there is an envelope. So I've added this envelope, and I've added this little piece here as a little closure for that envelope. So it's like a little piece of lace with a little flower. And then again, hand tatted edge to this piece. And a printed postcard. This one is one of my favorites because it's got this little dachshund here, which looks a lot like my dog. And more spaces for writing. So again, this can be written on. It's just paper clipped in, so you can take that out if you want. And then this is the other pocket in this one, where again, everything is collaged and stitched. It's machine stitched around each one of those pieces. They're very, very shabby looking, but also very vintage. And then in this one, you've got a postcard, a vintage printed postcard, and a little piece of ephemera there. And then here, I've added a little cluster. It's got a little piece of fabric, laces, just a little trim and a little pearl. So that's just pinned in, and each one of the journals has one of those. Again, more writing space. Lots of writing space. Another place for writing and a tab. And then this is the other side of that French book page with a little piece of ephemera, these beautiful little birds clipped on. And the other side of that ledger paper. And then here I created a side pocket. This has a vintage bingo card in it, which has these little places here for, that's where you would have put your little tab or disc or whatever to mark your bingo. So those are some authentic vintage bingo cards, and a little flower card. And each one of these of the three journals does have one of those same bingo cards. And then the other side here with this little side pocket and a little ribbon for pulling that tab out. And another pretty card that's paper clipped in, but again, that could be used for writing space. And then on the back, what I did is I covered the back of this with this vintage wallpaper. So I left the piece up here that said light resisting. And then on top of that, I added this beautiful lace as a big pocket. And inside that pocket, you've got a postcard, another piece where this is fabric that is sewn on to just a piece of cardstock for writing, and an envelope with some pieces in here for writing. So 3 pieces that are put into that pocket. So we're going to call this one number 1, that has the bird on the front. And if you stay tuned for the next 2 videos, I'm going to show the other 2 separately, but I'm also going to tell you about a giveaway that I'm going to give away as a 2,000 subscriber, because my channel has now reached right at 2,000 subscribers. So I'm going to be putting together a mixed media or junk journal curated supply package, which is going to include vintage book pages with French and German book pages, sheet music, vintage sheet music, vintage postcards, vintage ephemera, vintage postage stamps, vintage photos. I'm going to put some lace and some fabric pieces, some vintage millinery flowers, maybe even some vintage bling, put it all together and make it like a big, nice, happy meal for whoever would like to win something like that. Leave a comment and also give a thumbs up, and be sure that you're subscribed to my channel. And I'm going to make that available for this video and the next 2 videos that I show of these other 2 journals. And I will give that away within the next 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from today, I'll draw a winner for that. So just make sure that if I do contact you, that there's a way to contact you so that I can let you know that you've won. So again, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment if you're interested in winning my giveaway. Again, stay tuned for the next videos on the next journals. Thanks. Bye-bye.